Hello, everybody, wherever you may be, and welcome to the latest episode, which will be episode 11 of the tNb Gaming Podcast. And we hope you are all well, as somebody falls over in the background. What on earth was that? Somebody fall over in the background then?
Not guilty.
Oh, dear me.
No, legitimately, not guilty.
Oh dear, it's the heat. We're off to a good start. This is the Retro Bear speaking to you live from the Gaming Pantry. We are on audio this week. Thank you very much indeed to everybody. I think I speak on behalf of everybody, of all the boys last week, for everybody who turned up to our live stream this time. Was it Sunday last week, wasn't it? 8 o'clock on the 17th of May. We had an absolute ball with that. 2.5 hours near enough of people asking us questions and responding to it. Possibly we could do with tweaking it a little bit with maybe having less of us involved. We may get around some of the questions a bit easier, but really on behalf of everybody, just an extension of thanks to those who sat through the live stream all the way through, asked us a question. We hope we got through them all, and we hope that gave you a bit more of an insight into what we are doing and what we're all about. Tonight, probably the smallest one we've had for a few weeks now. It's just been one of those difficult weeks where we can't get everybody together at one time who's available to do it. So these guys have been, I think, one of them's been in his 6th straight week, and I think the other one's done 5 out of the last 6. So let's bring in Rob Gernaldinho Plays. Hi, Rob.
Hello, Mr. Bear. How are you?
I'm very well, mate. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Yep.
Still going. And, yep, six in a row, isn't it, you? I think
6 in a row. Unbelievable. We need 2 hands to count them.
And on the other side of the table is Sean at Retro Games Revived. Hi, Sean.
Good evening, mate. How are we doing?
I'm doing very well, sir. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you.
You're good, and that's 5 out of the last 6 for you as well. So,
yeah, I'm quite surprised at that actually. I'd probably consider myself the shyest of the group. So yeah, I'm not doing too bad, am I?
I'm going to say, yeah, you weren't quite sure at the start, were you? Really,
no,
about
no.
Whether you sort of get lost in some of the conversations. But now, I mean, it's fantastic that you've been able to be along so much, and that's really good to see. So what we're going to do tonight, we've got one topic of conversation, which we're going to take care of the 3 of us, and also we're going to catch up with what we've been playing and anything that else is related. Not sure how long this one's going to go on for this week, but obviously we'll try and keep you entertained, informed, and something else as well. Hopefully bring your attention to games that you may not have played, subjects that you may not be aware of, and things like that. I just want to ask you a question, Sean, before we start. I'm going to throw this one at you. What happened? What happened on the live chat after the live chat finished last week?
It's fair to say I had a few shandies. A couple of us carried on, talking, live chat talking, and the beer were flowing that night for me, mate. So
Yeah.
A little bit of a sore headed morning.
Was it always a case where you turn the cameras off afterwards? That'd been quite fun, because if you remember, we were sort of like picking up games that were really embarrassing, weren't we, out of our collections? Because I started produced a couple of real absolute horrible titles. Was it that Mary Kate and Ashley title I produced, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think Nate was horrified. I think that's why he's not here this week. He just can't get over it and going on from there. But sometimes it's best. But that may be a topic for a future game podcast. I think games that we have got in our collection which are really, really not very good at all, or just really embarrassing to have. And I suppose really from that point of view, if just on a subject, if you are collecting sets, you're going to have games which are like that, aren't you? If you're going to go for a complete set, you're going to pick up something as rubbish as those sorts of games.
You're bound to do, aren't you?
Let's cheer.
Let's cheer.
As featured in my last pickup video, I've got a Connect game where you have to be a cheerleader.
Well, I've got about 3. I've got at least 3 games like that. So we have to do that anyway. But go from that. It's sort of games like that you're picking up when you aren't actually picking up a full set.
Yeah.
So, for example, I'm not going for a full set of, say, PlayStation 2. But I have got ridiculously stupid games like Demolition Girl, which I did put in the live stream last week and things like that. So, just games that you sort of end up having for some reason. You just pick them up in whatever reason. You go, how the heck have I managed to acquire that game?
I have to be honest, unless it's a full set, that actually doesn't happen to me.
You're not doing it properly then, that's what it is. But you know, I just sort of thinking, you know, people buy bundles all the time to, you know, to try and fill in complete sets, or they'll just buy, you know, I need those 4 games out of that, you know, 10 or whatever, I'll buy that 'cause it's cheap enough. And you end up, you know, finding games in your collection. It's like David Birdsall's video a few weeks ago where he sort of did, you know, games you've discovered while collecting.
Yeah.
I'm more inclined to have a video to sort of say games that you found in your collection and gone, why the hell have I got that? Which may be something I can work on, but I don't know. We'll have to see.
Why
about
the hell
that.
have you kept it?
Why the hell?
Like...
Well, yeah. Why the hell have I still got this? Yeah, that's probably a good one actually.
Because with me, they might turn up in a bundle, perhaps like you say, if I buy a bundle for a couple of games, but they'll get passed on or moved off very quickly if they're not for a full set I'm going for. So.
That's it. But the rule would have to be very, very specific that you can't include games if you're going for a full set.
Oh, mine would be boring then.
Yeah.
But you, on the other hand, you can't let go of anything you haven't got.
Me, mate, it's a veritable gold mine with me. I mean, I could do probably 6 hours probably worth of games on that one. I might find 3 games that are worth keeping from my collection. That's probably what it is. Anyway, let's move on from that one. That's a subject for another time. And the big news of the week is that Rob has managed to hit a very big achievement on his Game Scorer challenge. I know he wants to take us through that. I'm going to come to that in a minute, but Sean, let's have a quick catch-up with what you've been playing this week.
Right. It is a quick catch-up, mate. To be honest, I haven't really had much time. I've been doing some security shifts at work, 12-hour security shifts, so I haven't really had much time. But the little time I have had, I've been playing COD online.
Shock.
What, you're surprised?
If you are listening at home or wherever you may be, do have a drink. Take a sip.
I just want to say though that they've actually they've now included this like Easter egg, if you like. I don't know if you've been following it at all.
I haven't. No. Well, it's May. Easter's not until March, really.
Yeah.
So. Sorry.
And basically, there's these vaults scattered around the map, and they've been locked up to now. But now there's certain things you can do. You've got to answer phones. You've got to get key cards, and you can now enter these vaults. They're full of chests with all the top guns, money, you know, all this ammo. It's exciting stuff. It's exciting stuff. And I haven't been in one yet. That's how good a gamer I am. I haven't been in one yet. But yeah, so obviously I'm trying to get into one of these vaults. And that's my next mission on COD.
Right, so hopefully when you're on next, we might have an update on that.
Possibly,
yeah. Depends if it's next week or the week after, but we don't really know on that one. Right. Okay. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Once again, I've had so little time this week. I'm just can't get any game playing time in. However, as I explained to the guys before we started, I'm hoping that in the course of next week I can get a Commodore 64 set up and start doing some game playing on that. Because I've got so many of their games to get through.
I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that.
Well, I'm hoping it's going to be part of a little series I want to do on the channel.
Yeah.
And if I can get that up and running, that'll be great. Even if it's just coming home, first thing in, load a game up, take 10 minutes to load. You know, who knows how long these take games are. I'm not blessed with the Commodore disk drive, and I'm not going to be playing these things off emulation. For me, you play a game as it should be played, and that's the idea. If I can get one of those set up and come home and spend an hour each night playing one of those, I should be able to crack through most of the games. And also, I think it's fairly short. There's quite a lot of them, about 500 or something or other, which it includes compilations and all sorts. So, yeah, that's what I'm hoping to do next week. So hopefully, I might be able to answer my own question next week, which will be a bit of an achievement. Speaking of achievements, which needs to be neatly on to Robert.
Hello.
So you've managed to achieve the Game Scorer challenge, which you milestone that you were on about a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, I'm on 500,000 gamer score now. I'm halfway to the ultimate goal, but thank you. But yeah, getting to 500,000.
I can't let the fireworks off in here. There's not enough room. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Getting to the 500,000, it was just amazing, to be honest with you. I mean, 400,000 was nice, 450,000 was nice, but the 500,000, it's just that, it's one of them figures, isn't it?
How long has that taken you to get there? Just out of interest.
Well, my Xbox Live account has been active for 10 years, but most of that, believe it or not, literally has been over the last 18 months because Xbox One indie games are a lot easier to get gamerscore out of. You can do some in no time at all. Obviously, when I just had the 360, a quick completion in those days was considered 6 to 8 hours, not less than an hour, less than half an hour, and in some cases even 10 minutes. So that's what the Xbox Indie Store has done to gamerscore. So, yeah, I mean, when I started my journey to 1 million gamerscore series, that was January the 1st, 2019, and that was at 250,000. So it's taken me 18 months to get the other 250,000. In fact, a little bit less than 18 months.
That's pretty good. I think that sounds pretty good going to me. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just
how much time you've had to put into it is another thing.
But yeah, there's time put into it, but it has become a lot easier nowadays to actually gain it out through the indie side of things, which is why I play a lot of them. But at the same time, I actually really enjoy playing indie games because you can pick up, play them, and some of them are little gems, and some of them are just the worst thing I've ever played. you get both ends of the scale.
Rob, can I just ask a question? In the achievement community, if you like, these new indie games and that, are they welcomed or are they kind of frowned upon? Is it,
No, it's.
I don't like to say it, but is it classed as like kind of cheating, or is it genuinely?
It's not classed as cheating or really frowned upon because it's available to everybody. So as far as we're concerned, if there's easy gamerscore out there that's less than a £5 and takes, I can think of one that took about 10 minutes to do, then that cheap game that only takes 10 minutes to do is available to everybody. So everybody can then get it, and it's still technically a level playing field. Can you imagine if no one in the world had any gamerscore at all and everybody just bought that game? Then everybody would be on 1,000, if you get what I mean. So you know what I mean? It's a level playing field for everybody.
I dream of being on 1,000. I think I'm on 85. It's not many, I know that, but then that's what I don't.
How many games did you press start on and get an achievement for?
Start. Oh God, I kept pressing select.
Yeah, you'll never get the Simpsons game achievement for pressing start.
Yeah. I haven't got the Simpsons game. That's probably another reason why I've not been able to get that sorted out.
Well, it was one of the very first games because I like the Simpsons that I actually bought when I got my Xbox 360. Here's a tangent. And
we love a tangent. We love a tangent.
I mean, the first game I got was PES 2010, but then the second game, I looked in the pre-owned section of, I think it was still called Electronics Boutique back then, and a Simpsons game, I'll buy that. And I think they had it up for like $4.99 pre-owned. Funny enough, I was literally just looking at it today on CX, and they now sell it for £18. So it's gone up quite a bit.
Do they?
It's one to look out for on a 360 now, I think, the Simpsons game. So I'm quite glad I've got it.
I don't think I've got it on the PlayStation 2 and on the Wii, but I don't think I've got it on the 360. Mind you,
and the good thing about
the
Simpsons game, interesting fact, potentially not, that every system it was released on, the Simpsons game, it's got a different artwork cover. Like, I'm looking at mine now, I've got it actually face forward out of my collection Simpsons game, and it's just Homer pretty much on his own, standing with both arms in the air. And then there's another one where he's sort of on one leg, sort of screaming, and there's Ralph Wiggum biting his leg. So like, each artwork is different for every console they release. So
the one with the arm in with Ralph Wiggum on his arm, I can tell he was on the front of the PlayStation 2 copy.
Yeah, I think that might be why I know that one, because I have seen it, and I remember it. I'm
just trying to check the Wii.
Oh, you got it. Of course he's got it.
And the Wii has got one of the aliens behind Homer.
Oh, is it Kodos?
Kang or Kodos, yeah.
Yeah.
But so that's where those two are slightly different anyway. Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. I like little facts like that because it's.
Yes, it would make an interesting subject. Hey, Eddie, have you got that one?
I dare say probably has. He could cover variants, but he's not here to speak for himself, so we'll have to ask him that next time he's on, won't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you got the 500,000, what game were you playing to achieve that? I know you put a video up about it, but obviously there will be people who may not have seen that. So.
All right. Well, it's sort of out the 4 games that I've been playing since I last spoke to you. The 2 non-indie games are the ones that one I used to set it up, and one that I actually did it with. And the one that I used to set it up with, I'm going to sound a lot like Sean here. I've been playing COD. I have been playing not Modern Warfare, the recent one. I've been playing. Right, let's try and get this right. Long title alert.
Something fishy about this. I don't know.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered. There we go. Which I believe was only released digitally. I'm not sure if there's a physical version of that yet, obviously. But yeah, I played that. I played a normal run through of that on normal difficulty, that is, and I did what was called my Intel run for the achievements on that side of things. So that next time I played it, which I'm still working on now, I've got 4 missions left. I'm playing through it on veteran at the moment and doing it legitimately because there is a way to cheese the achievements. But I love the challenge of that game, and this is when I used to enjoy Call of Duty games as well. So I'm playing through it on veteran legitimately, and I've got about, well, I say 4 missions to go, but that end game one is literally just this is how it ends, and just do what we tell you. But anyway, sorry, tangent again. But I used that to set it up. There was an achievement in that called, well, what was it called? Mission confirmed or mission targeted. Gonna have to look it up quickly. And I used that one to leave me 10G away. So it was basically target confirmed. And yeah, the achievement I used to get to 500,000. Well, I've had it in mind for ages because I just thought it would be quite funny to do that with, because you know, us achievement hunters, we will do anything for gamer score. Some are frowned upon and some are considered embarrassing. And one of those embarrassing achievements which always makes these lists that people do online.
Before you say it, did it have to be an embarrassing one, or is this one that you've lined up knowing that this is what you need, or is it just one that you sort of thought, well, I'll do this? Was it planned?
I literally, when I got the game about 6 months ago and thought about the achievement, I thought, do you know what? I've got to save that for a milestone. It'd just be funny to save for a milestone because I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for gamer score. And I just thought, do you know, it'd be funny that if it was for a milestone. And yeah, I thought about it for 450,000. I thought, do you know what? What if I saved it for the 500,000?
$500,000,
funny.
yeah. Actually, that to me makes it all the more interesting.
Oh, might cut out there. Sorry.
That's right. Yeah, I heard myself there. So technical problems, folks. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, technical problems.
But that makes it to me far more interesting to know that you actually sort of set that game aside to do that particular achievement to get that particular milestone.
Yeah, the achievement's called "I Swear I Did It by Mistake." So then I sort of thought, well, I can then say I swear I did it on purpose to get 500,000 gamer score, or to bring up 500,000 gamer score. So yes, have you? Well, you already know, but I wonder if everybody's worked it out by now that I am.
I know, because it's one of the few videos I have seen recently. So
yeah.
Yep, I saved Lollipop Chainsaw for the achievement.
Lollipop Chainsaw.
Lollipop Chainsaw, in which you get 10G for repositioning the camera angles to try and look up her skirt. 10G.
Well, there you go. There's not really much more you can add to that, I suppose, really.
I have been playing the game properly for a little bit since, by the way, and I can say it's actually a very, very good game. Very fun game. Although, I was just about to say, if you're one of those people that hates QuickTime events or is a bit slow at them, I have noticed that there are quite a few that crop up. For me, I know the Xbox controller like the back of my hand without looking, you know, so it's not an issue for me. But if you struggle with QuickTime events, then there's quite a few of those.
It was a game I was determined to pick up for quite some time. I think I gave in and paid the asking price for it. It's about £5. I think it was in CX, and I picked it up. I know PlayStation 3 version is very expensive, isn't it? About 18, 20 quid, I think.
Yeah,
Did I hear that said the other day, yeah?
Yeah, it was Eddie that brought that up. Yeah, he said he was looking at it and thinking about getting it, and then saw how much it was on the PlayStation 3 through CEX, I think, and how pricey it was. I looked it up, and CEX are now selling it for £5, and when I bought it, I paid £4. Result through CEX as well, and it come with the world's thinnest manual. It's literally a 4-page booklet.
There's nothing to it, I know that. But yeah, I mean, that's brilliant, mate. So what's the plan now going forward with this? Obviously, you're on the journey to 1 million. But I mean, have you sort of set yourself any further targets to achieve before we reach the end of this year, or are you just going to keep going on? And
yeah, it's pretty much just keep going and get as much as I can, and I'm going to try and work through some of this backlog. But it would be nice to get to 1 million because I can almost relax a bit, even though I will carry on going. It would be nice to just sort of not worrying about getting 20,000 a month, which I can do, you know, and really going for it. And just chilling a bit and playing some of the 360 stuff, which takes longer. But I was going to say, I hate it when people say, oh, good luck with the grind. That's an achievement community expression for getting game score. They go, oh, good luck with the grinds. Oh, well done. And I hate the fact it's called a grind. I enjoy doing it. If it was a grind, I would not do it.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
It's the same with anything. Do you find that the achievement target or getting your achievement score gets in the way of you playing games normally? Or that's for the best way to describe it, really. I know that you wouldn't just play a game just to get the achievement score and then that'll be it, and then you move on and then something else. You'd want to sort of explore a game properly, but do you find that sort of getting that achievement score gets in the way of playing a game properly all the way through?
Despite the fact you just said that, to be honest with you, that does happen a lot, especially with the indie games. You'll buy them just for the game score because you know it's easy. Sometimes you'll enjoy the game and maybe want to finish it. Sometimes you'll get all the achievements before the game's finished and you'll be like, right, I'm done with this, and then you won't actually carry on. But it pushes a lot of my backlog back continuously. Like I said, I've got all these 360 games which I want to crack on with, I want to play. Some of them take a long time. Some of them are just massive sins that I've never played. And please, collective jaw-dropping potential here. But I'm still waiting to get cracking on with BioShock. It's just been so, and I really want to. And then a new game will come out that I want to play, and then another couple of indie games will drop in the store, and they'll both cost less than a fiver and take under an hour to do. And sometimes the times aren't accurate and take a little bit longer than an hour. And before you know it, you played those two games, and an evening's worth of gaming's gone.
Yeah.
And it's just pushed something else back. So
I think that's quite interesting. It really is.
But I was going to say at the same time, it doesn't bore me. It's never a grind, so it's it's not too much of a problem. It's a hindrance that happens.
Yeah.
You're going to ask something, Sean.
What's the highest game score you've seen somebody get?
Well, obviously on Xbox Live, you back in the day, you used to have to send a friend request and they'd have to accept you to see it. But they've obviously gone for this thing where you can follow people. Like obviously, since I've been doing YouTube, my follow account on Xbox Live is normally you had a friend follows you back, but nowadays you can follow people. So if you do what I do, you get more followers than friends now, which amazes me. But thank you to everybody that has decided to do that. I welcome it. You're more than welcome to have a look at what I'm playing. But I do. Where I was going with this, by the way, is I do follow the leader in the world, Stallion83, who was the leader for years and who's now second place, and another guy that is just absolutely smashing game score, and you can tell he's targeting it. But anyway, let's find this guy. I'll find this guy on my friends list and tell you exactly what he's got. I know it's over 2 million. It's well over 2 million. It is 2,446,785 at time of recording this podcast.
Right.
So he's nearly at 2.5 million now.
Okay.
Canadian guy called Stephen Rowe goes by the gamer tag of. Well, I say Smirnov because it's spelled SMRNOV. His gamer tag. It's obviously a reference to his name and perhaps the month he was born. Do you know what? I've just realised that.
Yeah.
His name's Stephen Rowe. The M is probably his middle name, and he's probably born in November.
So what was his tag? Was it Smirnoff? You say?
I say Smirnoff because it is literally Smirnoff without the I.
I thought that might be one of the new habits he's picked up while playing all these games all these years.
Do you know, I've literally only just worked that out and realised that could be why the NOV is at the end. I always wondered. I'm just like, hang on a minute. Maybe his birthday's in November.
See, like Metal Jesus, we did it first. There we go. Rob's worked it out. He's managed to sort that out without just sitting there. He's managed. I dare say, Metal Jesus hasn't got that one sorted out yet. Have you been playing anything else this week, Rob? Just on the subject before we move on to this week's discussion.
Well, I mentioned my COD and my Lollipop Chainsaw, but there were a couple of indie games that I played. One might actually interest you a little bit there, perhaps. Obviously, you haven't got an Xbox One, so you might not be able to try it. But it's called Concept Destruction.
Hello.
And the best way I can describe this is it's like Destruction Derby, but you're driving toy cars made out of cardboard.
Yep. I'm off out to buy an Xbox One tomorrow if we can't get any shops are open.
And it takes a couple of hours to get the full 1,000 hour, but it was actually a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, actually. I really enjoyed that one. And the other indie game that I played that I did stream here on YouTube was called Bullet Beat. And that is it's pretty much a very basic vertical scrolling shooter.
A bullet beat, did you say? I thought it sounded like a first-person shooter dancing game.
Well, it's kind of got that image with all the flashy colours and the music in the background as well. And that was fun. That was fun for short blast. That took me an hour and 10 minutes, but I did get stuck on one achievement for longer than you can do it in. But like I'm saying that, and I mean it still only took an hour and 10 minutes. You know, if you want to go by what I said earlier about it's easy to get nowadays, gamer score. But yeah, those are the two Xbox Live Indie stores. So that brings you, as I say, I put a lot of time into playing Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered. So my list is actually a little bit shorter than most other podcasts. But there is one non-Xbox Live game I've been playing, and you two may have noticed that today.
Yes.
I've been playing V-Rally on the PlayStation 1, the very first V-Rally. And it is the first time in over 10 years I played it, and my weakness at driving games, specifically the rally genre, shone through. But I stay true to the series. I record my first attempt and I post it, and that was it.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I played that 4 or 5 months ago for the first time in a long time. I used to love that game, but I didn't think it had aged particularly well at all. That may just be me, I don't know, but I couldn't get on with it. Whereas I picked something like Colin McRae up, I'm quite happy with that. I can play that without any problems, and even playing Tucker, I managed to within half a lap. Also, I'd managed to work my way back to controls, but V-Rally, I struggled a bit with that again.
I always preferred V-Rally over Colin McRae. I found it was a little bit more arcadey, so it was more my thing, believe it or not. And I was pleasantly surprised at how well the car stuck to the track, rather than drifted on mud and things like that. Honestly, I'm very surprised.
I might have to go back and play that again. I don't know, but I didn't get particularly impressed by it. So, then again,
it's a bit brutal with mistakes. I think if you make one mistake, then you might need one good lap to perhaps catch last place.
Yeah,
if you make two, that's it. Game over. You're not catching nobody.
Yeah, that probably was it. But I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, we'll have to see. That is what we've been playing this week, or it's now more commonly known as what Rob's been playing this week, and what me and Sean have failed to do. That's all. So we'll move swiftly on to this week's subject of discussion. We've had a bit of a chat about this, and because there's only the three of us in tonight, we thought we'd just do something probably a little bit fun. It's a subject that probably would require an extension. But if you brought everybody in to do it, we'd probably have a 5-hour broadcast or something. And this is very much to bring in a bit more about the sort of games that people enjoy playing, some games they don't particularly enjoy playing, and some games they absolutely hate playing. And the scenario I've given the chaps tonight, and myself, is that for some bizarre reason, unbeknownst to you, whether it's on a plane or a boat or people just dump you there because they don't like you anymore, you've been stuck on a desert island. And you've been stuck on a desert island with a machine which will play absolutely any game from history at all. And it doesn't care whether it's a Atari 2600 or a hulking great Space Harrier arcade machine. This is the sort of thing that you can play games on. You've been marooned on this desert island with just 5 games of choice. But not all those games are games of choice. 3 of the games you can take with you, or are washed up with you, or dumped with you, are games that you absolutely love, and you'd be happy to play those for the rest of eternity, or until somebody remembers where you are and comes to rescue you. 1 game will be a game that you've played, but you've never got on with, or a game that you've never been able to complete, or a game you just got bored with, because you can have plenty of time on this desert island, hunting for coconuts and things like that, and all of a sudden you think, I could have a go at that game and try and finish it. And then unbeknownst to you, that in this box of 5 games that you have, 3 games that you really, really like, 1 game which you can put some time into, is a game which you absolutely hate. A game that you cannot get on with at all. Something you absolutely despise, because why should you be enjoying yourself in a desert island? No, this game is there to continuously mock you, that you are sitting there in your shorts made of bark, in your hat made of palm tree leaves, and it is mocking you every single time you open that box. Play me, you don't like me. So,
rules question quickly.
Yes.
Am I assuming that
after that introduction you want a rules question? Cheeky
yes.
Sod.
Oh, we can let it fly, and you'll be like, you can't do that.
Okay,
compilations not allowed.
Compilations aren't allowed. The other one I would say as well is if you can try and keep it to one
per franchise.
One game for franchise, or 1 game per system as well.
All per system. That's not fair.
Well, that's not fair. Come on.
I thought it was 5 games you like originally, and
Well, it
you've
was,
just
yeah, but I
really
mean,
bugging me right up.
Oh, I can ask Sean first.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I try not to put too many rules on these sort of things. I like people to free think, you know.
I should have kept the compilation a bit quiet, shouldn't I?
This is not a fascist podcast. This is something where you can think for yourself, and you know you aren't told what to do. Apart from don't pick compilations. Right. So, Sean, let's start with you then, my friend.
Yeah.
So, let's we'll try and do it in sort of stages. We'll go around each other. So, if you can kick us off with the 3 games that you end up on this desert island with, that you have great favoritism for, and why?
Can I ask a question first?
Oh, bloody hell!
Rules check.
Well, has this island got super fast fibre broadband?
It's got coconuts and palm trees. What more do you want?
Play games on it. Be grateful.
So come on, lines out the question then.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
Oh,
Well, no, not really. No, because I said this machine could. I didn't want to answer flipping questions. This is ridiculous. I said this could play absolutely anything. So if it's a game which requires connecting to the internet for whatever reason, then yes.
oh,
Now, obviously, now you realise that's how sport one of your choices. The element of surprise is gone.
it does, mate. But I'm not gonna choose that actually. Well,
Why ask the bloody question in the first place then?
Pointless question alert.
because I've just this minute changed my mind.
How many in a row have you been on? 5, wasn't it? Yeah, not next week, that's for sure. Sorry, mate, go on. Sorry.
Right, I'm going to start off with something you mentioned earlier, the deluxe cab for Space Harrier.
Good choice. Yeah.
I've got to know. I mean, it's my all-time favourite game. I've now got a banner, a YouTube banner and profile picture incorporating the Space Harrier theme into it. I must thank On a Retro Tip, Pete from On a Retro Tip for that. It's just an absolute classic for me.
What firstly drew you into that game?
It was an arcade in Bridlington. I think it was called Joyland. They were the first arcade that I know anyway to get the Space Harrier machine, and you know, me and my mates used to go there all the time to Brid. You know, having a few shandies on a night as you do, Mr. Bear.
It's been a long time since I've done that, so I wouldn't know what happens. That's why I had to stop doing it.
We used to call it arcades beforehand, and this Space Harrier cropped up, and absolutely loved it. Got blown away by it, and there were massive queues for it, as you can imagine. Back then, everybody, you know, even people just passing by, oh, what's that noise? They'd come in, they'd have a look and see what it was. But yeah, that's the first one that I'd definitely choose, Space Harrier.
Yep.
So my second choice, well, it's another game, another character I absolutely love. It's Crash Bandicoot. Now, you said we're not allowed compilation. I'm going to try and be crafty and say the Crash Bandicoot trilogy, the new one.
You're pushing your luck, I tell you.
You're not allowing me.
Which one was it? Crash what?
Crash, the compilation one.
Yeah.
It's the new one, isn't it? It's the
trilogy.
Yeah. But if not, then I'd go for the first one. I think the first one defines Crash. It was an amazing game when it was first released.
It was.
It was. I mean, I think it was one of the first games I got a PlayStation, when I bought the PlayStation at the time, and it was just amazing. And my third game, right? I'm gonna break front norm here a little bit, and if I'm
he's taking a risk, Rob. He's taking a risk.
Strap yourselves in.
This could be anything. This could literally be anything.
So I'm sat down. It's fine.
Right. There's an absolute massive catalogue of games I could have chosen, but while I'm on this desert island, obviously I want something that's gonna take me a while to do, right? And I'm use my brain a bit, because I've got to keep my brain active, haven't I? Just in case I have to work out a way to escape this island.
Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is like get find a disused volleyball, and then sort of like cut your hand open and make a face on it.
Yeah. So yeah, you know what? I've gone with an adventure game from the Commodore 64 because they were brutal, weren't they? They didn't hold your hand like today's games. You had to work out the commands, and sometimes they could be really cryptic.
You could literally spend 2 days typing in the word left, right on this desert island and keep getting the message, I do not understand your command.
Yeah.
You could type every single word in, and by that point you'd have kicked it across the beach.
Exactly, mate. And do you know which game I've gone for? We were actually talking about one of them the other week.
I'm guessing The Hobbit.
No,
you've done me. It's not my field.
Let me have another think.
I'll give you a clue.
Oh, okay.
There were a couple of them that were made by CRL.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, yes. Dracula, Frankenstein, something like that.
Yeah. Dracula, Frankenstein, and what third one?
Jack the Ripper, wasn't it?
Jack the Ripper,
yeah. You can never remember that one. I keep telling you what it is. Yeah.
I'd probably go for Dracula, to be honest. I think there's a nice, sense of mystery with Dracula. So I'd go for that one.
Would you play it in the dark on the Treasure Island? On the desert island? Because, yeah. No, you'd be looking over your shoulder all the time, wouldn't you? You'd make a giant cross out of palm trees just to sort of, surround you, so they keep.
I'll just for anybody who don't know about these games, they were quite controversial at the time, weren't they, Russ?
Yes, they were. They
were very gory, and I mean, we're talking decapitated heads and giblets and all sorts falling out of people.
We were talking mid-80s, weren't we, on the Commodore 64, mid-80s, yeah. Yeah.
So, like I say, at the time, they were quite controversial. They obviously got the 18 rating, even though, we're talking Commodore 64, so the graphics were fairly pixelated, but you could still make out exactly what they were depicting. But yeah, they're adventure games, and adventure games back then were, like you said, so they were basically typing in commands. You got mainly a brief description of your surroundings, and you had to work out ways, usually a way out of the room, be it through finding keys, finding a code for the safe which contained the key to get out of the locked door, etc., etc. But yeah, that's,
I mean, they were the staple of that sort of era, weren't they? Those sort of games, and from a generation, from where you myself from, it was that was a big genre. Yeah, and then of course, once things sort of evolved from there, it took away the necessity for text-based games. Yeah, and then you move more into sort of the action-adventure type thing because of the way things have evolved.
And the point and clicks there kind of moved on to, didn't we?
That's right. So, yeah. So those are the three that you would take that you're really happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just say, I'm surprised, Sean. No bomb jack.
No. I forgot about bomb jack.
Goodbye, text-based adventure game.
Yeah.
Your time is done.
It's too late. He's on there. He can't get off now.
He's on.
No one's coming for 20 years. He can play bomb jack when he gets home.
Yeah.
Right. So, Rob, same question to you then. The three games that you would most likely be stuck on a desert island with.
Oh, I had 5 because I thought it was 5.
And don't say lollipop chainsaw because you can kill 2 things with 1 stone, because that doesn't count.
Right. Shall we get the obvious one out of the way and make everybody down their drink?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Spice World? No.
Spice World indeed. No. I've never played Spice World, and I probably never will. But
you're missing a treat there.
I have to absolutely take a Gears game, don't I? Have to take a Gears game. And of the franchise, I don't. To me, the Horde mode in Gears was always massively what really kept me into it. I love the Horde mode. The first one doesn't have it. The Horde mode in the fifth one is shocking, if you get my drift. And
A slight undertone there, wasn't
the Horde mode was introduced in 2, but it was good. It was good, but they really improved it in 3. And although I put more hours into 4, I have to look at the whole game, and the campaign in 3 is my favourite and the best by far. The Horde mode in it is probably the best as well. So I would absolutely have to take off the franchise, because only one per franchise would be Gears 3. Otherwise, I'd just say, I'd take 2, 3, and 4 with me. Job done. You know.
But that wouldn't be very exciting, though, would it?
Mate, that's all I need. Honestly, I'd be away. This is a guy who's put over 1,000 hours into Gears 4, remember? And he's picking Gears 3.
Well, yeah, okay, I can see your point there, yeah.
But swiftly moving on to game 2, because no one wants to hear me talk about Gears again.
You can just listen to previous podcasts.
Yeah, or just any video I make. Again, we've always talked about favourite franchise of all time, and it's not actually Gears, so I'm going to have to pick one from my favourite franchise of all time, and one that you don't like at all, Mr. Bear, and I'm going to pick Street Fighter 2, and I'm going to go for the Championship Edition. Now, I know it's got 4 less characters than Super Street Fighter 2, but for me, Championship Edition was the one that holds most nostalgia for me, so it's the one that I always go back to the most, and the one, therefore, that I play the most.
Which system would you play that on?
Because I don't get bored of it, I would always go. Well, you see, this is where I was talking about compilations, because they made an arcade-perfect version of it on the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Edition. Mm-hmm. So, when you said any machine, can I just not have the arcade cabinet version?
You can have Sean's gone for Space Harrier Arcade.
All right, so I would absolutely have Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition as my second choice. And because Sean mentioned it, I'm going to mention it as well now. I've got a new channel banner as well, and on one side of it, I've got Marcus Phoenix from Gears of War, and on the other side of it, I've got Ryu from Street Fighter. And that banner was also very kindly made for me by Peter Armour of On a Retro Tip. So, double thank you from tNb boys in this podcast for making my banner as well, Pete. So, thank you very much. And the third choice, because I'd written a list of 5, do you want to hear the 2 that I've now disregarded?
No, because we might do it in a future episode.
Oh, God. But anyway, I've tried to pretty much go for as much replayability as possible, because you can have a longer story as possible as you want, but sometimes it's going to end. So all 3 of my last choices were like that. I like to think Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition has loads of replayability, because, you know, the fights are never the same. And, well, I could get lost in it for hours anyway. But we've gone for probably another game which I've mentioned multiple times, which is I probably love far too much for what is the quality of the game. And I'm going to go for Virtua Striker 2. Because no football game is the same, and I could just play it over and over and over again. And just, never get bored of it. Never get bored of it. So that'll be my 3 favourites. And it was so hard to cut.
Well, I know.
Crazy Taxi.
Ooh.
It really was. So hard.
I can see why you would not want to cut that one out.
Because that's got so much replayability as well. But I have to have a Gears game with me. I have to have a Street Fighter 2 game with me. And then it was one from another 3. Are you going to answer this as well, Babe, by the way?
Yes. I'm
not telling you the other game I'm going to cut then, because I've already just given you some inspiration potentially.
No, I'm not going to put that one in there. No, don't give me more inspiration, because this list is bad enough without it.
I'll tell you the other game I've cut after you've given me your 3.
Okay, all right. So I had to sort of change this, sort of put my own list, and I thought, hang on a second, I can't work that. I don't know, just 3 games that I will be quite happy sitting there for the rest of eternity playing. First one for me would be Super Monaco Grand Prix. But I would want to take the Mega Drive version with me. Now, that might surprise some people rather than the arcade, but the Mega Drive version had this quite wonderful Formula 1 season on it, well, championship season. And it's probably one of the best championship season versions on any system I've ever played. And the game itself moves along a tremendously licking pace. So I put so much time into that when I had it originally. And I don't have a copy. I do have a copy. It's on one of the Sega Mega Games compilations I've got. But I just love it. I was trying to take a racing game, and you'll give me the choice what sort of games I wanted to take with me. And I probably would have taken Super Monaco Grand Prix, but then I might have also taken Formula One Grand Prix on the Amiga, which was by Jeff Crammon, because I absolutely loved that game as well. But I remember playing more of it on the PC than it on the Amiga. But I've gone with Super Monaco Grand Prix because it's got the original game on there, and it's got this championship season attached to it, and it's a really fun game to play, and I absolutely loved playing that game. So that's my first choice.
Ross, have you ever gone through the championship on it?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah, I went through it, and I think I guess it's been years since I played it, but managed to. I just kept going. I kept winning the season. I kept going and going. And even though I'd done it, I'm still playing it. And there were certain tracks on there. I think there's possibly Imola, which is the fast track anyway. I think there's a French track, because it's Magny-Cours as well. And you can just you're sort of cracking along at 320 kilometres, and it feels like really, really quick. But it has the added bonus of that tacked on to the original arcade conversion as well, which wasn't the best. But then again, that to me was an unconvertible arcade machine. You just couldn't replicate the graphics in the arcade onto even the Mega Drive. It just comes out as a very sort of bare bones version of that. So the fact they tagged this on gives it a much more longevity. I think is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
That was my first choice. My second choice is a game that I got on the Amiga when I first had the Amiga back in '89, and that is the New Zealand Story. Because I absolutely love that little platform game. The whole sort of look of it, the cute look of it. It's got that ridiculously twee music as well, which just goes on forever and ever and ever. It's also a game I never quite managed to complete. I did get quite far into it, but I did find it get beastly difficult towards the end. But then again, that was quite some years ago since I last played it. But I've played it since then on the Commodore 64. Obviously runs a lot slower, so I wasn't quite as adept at that one. But that to me was just a fantastic version. It was, I would say it was arcade perfect, because I don't think anything was back then, but it was close as damn it. And it was a really good conversion. You could find the shortcuts as well. If you're firing the arrows on platforms, it's sort of, I think, was it a warp zone or something like that they called it? I can't remember. A little sort of window used to appear, you used to jump through it, and you could skip through a number of levels. But yeah, the idea would be sit there, complete it all the way through, collect the bonuses, so you can get extra lives and all that. And it just had a lovely, cute appeal to it.
It did. It was a really good game. I agree, Russ. It was, it were up there with like some Bubble Bobble and Rainbow Islands, wasn't it? It was a really popular game.
That's right. And Rainbow Island, Bubble Bobble, I really like, but I think you'd need 2 players in that sort of game.
Yeah.
And bear in mind that you're going to be stuck in a desert island. There's nobody else around. You could try asking the fish to play, but I don't think they're going to be particularly interested. And if you have made a friend out of a disused volleyball or something like that, he won't have any hands anyway, so you call play of the game. So Bubble Ball's more of a 2-player game. Rainbow Islands probably would have come close to it, but I played New Zealand Story more, and I think I would take that one with me. So that would be my second choice.
Yeah.
And my final choice, this one's a no-brainer for me, because I keep mentioning it all the time, and I'll say it again, Football Manager 2005 on the PC.
I thought you were going for Spice World. You mention that all the time.
I might smuggle that one in. I don't know. No, change my own rules. No, Football Manager 2005. I could have picked any sort of football management game. But it had to be that particular one, because I've never sunk so many hours into a football management game my entire life. In fact, even so, I was still playing that game probably about 2-3 years ago before my laptop. I actually installed an earlier version of Windows on this particular laptop to run that game. So we basically, degraded a laptop just so I can have a working version of that, because it wouldn't play on a normal PC. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about that game. It just clicked with me, and I'm able to sort of take teams from the conference all the way through to the Premier League. If you know which team you're picking, it's quite easy to do. But no cheats or use anything like that. And then I can keep playing that game for, I think I probably got as far about 2035 or something before it started packing up. because it then starts regenerating new players to replace the players who've retired. And then I think it was fairly common with sort of games like that, where they sort of reach a certain point and all of a sudden the save state stops working and you have to start all over again. We're starting all over again into problems. You just pick a different team to start with. That's the whole thing. I'll pick a team from the third division, or the fourth division. Fourth division. The old fourth division, they pick a team from League Two, or I'll go for the conference, or I'd pick a championship team and try and it was just great. And I don't know, just so many happy hours playing that game, and you get sucked into it. You start doing interviews in your head. You imagine you're being interviewed by somebody about after the game or something like that. And I know that's part of the game now. They've incorporated all that. They have to do like pre-match and post-game interviews and all that. But you sign a play, you get really excited about it, and you go, oh yeah, and then imagine you've been interviewed by somebody on television. Well, many happy hours sat in the toilet pretending somebody was interviewing me about my football management career. Yeah, perhaps I should get stuck in a desert island. That's probably the best place for me. I don't know.
Has the latest versions of that game, have they still got the little dots?
No, they've moved on to a much more complicated match engine, and see, that's when it stopped being interesting for me. That's when it stopped being fun, because those little dots, in your own mind, even the old games with the text commentary, you could sort of sit there and you'd have the commentary would play out, and it would say so and so throughs on goal, he's round the goalkeeper and he scores. In your mind, if you've got an incredibly active imagination like mine, you can sort of picture that going on.
Picture it happening, yeah.
And it's the same thing with the discs and the dots. Even though it's playing out in front of you, you could still sort of do your own interpretation of that. I remember one time I was playing. I think I was playing as Manchester United against Arsenal, and we scored a goal, and it was I think it was a cross came in from the far on the right hand side of the pitch, was curled into the goalkeeper. And somebody's got a flick on it, a little touch. And all I can imagine was this player just sort of running and sort of sticking a toe out and getting a touch on it. And I could see it. I could see it in my own mind. But now they've included this big match engine. It just takes that imagination out of it for me.
Yeah, I can see that.
I prefer it to be much more simple. Not too simple, but enough where you still got, you're able to sort of see it yourself rather than let somebody else let you know what's going on.
Did you ever sort of read that and you think, well, that's similar to a real life goal, and then it bring up the real life goal in your head? I used to have that happen to me a couple of times. Yeah,
or I can see the players doing it. If the players, the players I've got to sign, I know who can do it. And if it wasn't players I knew I'd sign, I still make them. It's like a really sad individual spends a lot of time stuck in my own room playing these games. But that's it, because you get so invested into the product. You're so invested into the what's going on that you sort of develop this sort of parallel universe, which is much nicer than where you actually stay in yourself. I don't know. Anyway, so those are my 3 games anyway. That's I'll be happily. Sorry, yeah, go on then.
The game I cut. Well, before you dropped the bombshell on me when I logged on to the chat, and you said to me, "Oh no, it's only 3 favourites," because I thought it was 5, and your other 2 topics, and I was like, "Got this nailed." Right. Anyway. Well, when he said the 5, I thought, right, I'll have my gears game, I'll have my sports game, my fighting game, my driving game, and my gun game, with replayability and depth to all of them. So I've already revealed a Cut Crazy Taxi. Mm-hmm. Now, the category that's missing is gun game. So, any guesses? What throw a guess out?
House of the Dead.
No.
Point Blank.
Point Blank.
Point Blank. I've forgotten about that one.
2 points to Sean.
It would have been my choice, mate, to be honest.
Point Blank, yeah. So, I'd have a gun game as well. So, I had to keep my gears, I had to keep my Street Fighter, and then I had to pick between the other 3. And I realised I went for football, and you know what? That was a hard choice as well, because I had to cut ISS Pro 98, which is another arcadey football game, which I got lost in and played hours of.
Well, so I thought about that, and I thought about Kickoff 2, and I thought, do you know what? Now, Football Manager was the game. I'm not anticipating a particularly long stay on this island, maybe 18 months or so.
Hey,
somebody somewhere will realise we're missing. I'm hoping anyway. Right, so now we move on to the slightly more complicated questions. And I'm going to start with Rob on this one.
Oh, thanks. No, that's good. No, I'm good.
So, Rob, a game that you end up getting stuck with that you've never quite got on with or never quite completed or just found a bit dull, but now you've got time on your hands in between making bark shorts?
So it's got to be a game I don't like, but have
Not
started.
a game which you're sort of indifferent towards, but now you've got time to put some time into it to give it a go.
What was the other question as well? Was that one you don't like?
Yeah,
got to play.
One you don't like, which you've got to play.
Oh right,
We're leaving that till the very
I
end.
kind of misunderstood the question then because I thought it was a game you'd started and just not got round to finishing.
Well, it's the same sort of category, isn't it? It's a game you played before, but for some reason, whatever, you've just never got round to finishing it, or put the time in that you wanted to put into it, or.
Oh well, I've got one, but I do like it. I just started it and I never finished it.
Well, that's
I
fine.
really should have done,
That's
but I
fine.
absolutely love it. And it was during a time period where this little blue fella was knocking out crap game after crap game.
It's a Smurfs game.
But it was singular, not plural. I've got the Smurfs 2 on the Xbox 360, by the way.
Have you?
There's a crap game that I've got.
I've got the Smurfs Dance Party on the Wii.
yeah.
I can trump that.
Everyone knows how bad Sonic 06 was and several other games that he did. But I bought new, when it got released, Sonic Generations. And it's absolutely brilliant. You get to play as Sonic 2D and 3D. And you sort of flip between the two as to which one you just fancy playing. And the levels are, they're not rehashed from old games. They are their own levels in the game as well. Although some of them do resemble old levels. And it was fantastic. And I was really enjoying it. And I played it for a couple of hours a night. I returned to it for another hour, another night. And then other games happened. And it just got put on the shelf and never returned to. And it is really good. It's a lot of fun.
Do you know what? Exactly the same thing happened with me with that game.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because Sonny got it for me for Christmas. I remember on PlayStation 3. And I remember playing it. I thought, wow, actually, it's really good. They've actually got Sonic right for the first time in a long time. It actually felt like a Sonic game with all the bells and whistles of the new, the new stylings going on, but also enough of the classic Sonic in there. And I was exactly the same. I played it for a bit, and then I stopped playing it.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's a really good game.
Not because it's a bad game. I just stopped playing it. I then moved on to something else. And so, from my point of view, I know exactly what you're talking about because exactly the same thing happened to me.
If I can scroll down far enough and quick enough, I'm going to find it on my actual list of games and see when I last played it was. So, if Sean's got a game ready to go, I'll let you know shortly after Sean's answer when I last played it and have put it on the shelf and not returned to it since.
In that case, Sean, put down that harpoon and give us your game in this particular category. So something that you've played before, or you haven't really got on with, or you think they've got time to play it, or a game you started and never got around to completing.
I'm same as Rob. This is a game I loved it, but I never got around to finish it. I never got around to completing it. Certainly. It was quite a tricky game. It was a 2D platformer, and it was from the Commodore 64. And the game in question is Trolley Wally, and it's it's a very little known game. It was by Interceptor Software, but by crikey, it's hard. The basic premise of it is that you're in this supermarket. You've got to collect all the items in the supermarket. You can only carry 5 at a time. Then you have to go to checkout before you can pick 5 more up. As the usual, well, back then you've got sliding platforms, disappearing platforms, slides, ladders, you name it. It's got everything. And the character actually is... It looks a bit like Pac-Man with legs.
In some games, he does have legs.
Yeah. This guy's orange, Trolley Wally, old Trolley Wally. But yeah, it's rock hard, as you can imagine. But with the 2D platformers.
Is it a particularly well-known game?
No, I won't say it was a particularly well-known game. Although I believe there were I think there were maybe 3 or 4 games in the series. Wow, forget names of them now. But yeah, Trolley Wally was the main one. Obviously, well, it was the first one in the series. Wally Goes to Rhineland or something. What another series, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I loved it at the time, and I put some hours into it, but just never got to end. Never got to completing it.
Well, you'll have plenty of time on your hands on this desert island, mate, I tell you. I've never heard of that one before. I must be honest with you.
No.
Neither have I.
Yeah.
Great name though.
Yeah,
It is a great name.
But that was the sort of names they used to give games back then, wasn't it? Stupid things like that, you know. And
Yeah.
Well, they've got a bit of a resurgence in name giving in the Xbox Live indie world. Trust me, I've thrown out a few that make you giggle. I think you all loved Doug Hates His Job, didn't you?
yeah, that was good. I quite enjoyed that one.
I have a date, by the way, for when I played Sonic Generations now.
Yep.
Yeah.
What did you say about Sonic Generations? When did you get it?
I got it the Christmas it came out.
It's just all come back to me now. I actually asked my sister to get it for me for Christmas, and the first achievement I unlocked on that game was on Christmas Day in 2011, called Green Hill Restored.
Yeah.
And I must have got Rankest in that act because I got that achievement on the same day. The last achievement I unlocked in that game was, as he scrolls up, I got a few, did all right. But the last achievement I unlocked was on the 21st of the 2nd, 2012, and then it got shelved and never came off the shelf.
So you've played it for about 2 months. And
Yeah,
then,
on and off.
And it's gone on the shelf for 8.5 years.
Yeah, basically. I defeated Silver, and he's never got over it on the 21st of the 2nd.
Yeah.
I got a 30G achievement for it.
Do you know what? There were people sitting there, and it may not be to do with Sonic Generations like myself, but there were other games like that saying, I did that with a game. I had a game that year, and I put it on the shelf, and it's still there. and, you know, 6, 5, 10 years later, you still got something like that.
And to bring it up again, as we've already mentioned this game, I did the same with the Simpsons game, and that's not far away from this one. I literally have not played a lot of it. It's not a bad game either. Just looking at this one now, dated achievements. Okay, I'll just say the last. The last achievement I locked on that game was on the 5th of 3rd, 2010. Oh. And I've only got 65 game score out of it, and I put it on the shelf and played something else.
10 years and 2 months ago. There we go. Wow.
God.
Right. Do you know what? I feel like I should play them both next month now.
It's your homework for a future episode.
Yes.
Now, I'm probably going to surprise both of you with this one in the same category because it's a game I regularly sort of slag off on this particular programme, and indeed I've slagged off quite a number of times. It's not the one you're thinking of, by the way. It's another one. And we've already mentioned it once this evening. And I'm going to say that I would happily... would I say happily? Yes, I would say happily. Have a copy of, on the Super Nintendo, Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, get in there.
Ooh.
The reason being is because I'd have this 18 months in my hand. I'd be really sort of bored with something to do. So rather than being a lazy sod, I can actually spend the time learning the button moves to do all the moves.
And then you'll love it and realise it's great.
Possibly. There's no guarantee with that. I'm not making any guarantees, mate.
I am.
If I'm far more interested in teaching turtles how to sort of play Football Manager 2, I should be doing that.
Maybe we should teach them how to fight, and if they mutate, you're away.
That's true. That's true. If I was hungry, I'd probably eat them. But I'd have time on my hands to play a game that I routinely hate because I am no good at it. So it's not a game I hate because I'm no good at it. It's a game I don't like because I'm no good at playing that game because I do not know what I'm doing. If I've got time to sit down and work out the combinations, then I'll probably enjoy it a bit more.
Yeah.
You're probably right, actually. Yeah.
I tell you what,
Sorry, Rob, go on.
I was about to say, you've just made me think of something that I could now apply that to it and sort of give you a more proper answer to the original question. If you want me to tell you it?
Yeah,
now?
go on. Well, go on. As you've made the mention of bringing it up.
Well, there's a certain style of game I don't like and I don't get, and it's one of those when I say it, people will probably please don't log off.
Please don't log off. Yes.
I've never had the time, desire, or willpower to start and play a Zelda game for any length of time because I don't like that style of game. I don't like going here to find this key, to get this sword, to do that.
Yeah.
But if I had all the time in the world and was forced to play it, you never know, I may enjoy it. So actually, I would probably say, in the case of answering the question fairly and properly, I will change my answer because we know I like that Sonic game. I will change my answer to playing a Zelda game and actually giving it a proper crack.
Yeah.
Since you're willing to play Street Fighter, which I know you routinely tell us that you don't like. I will play a Zelda game, and then it might make me like it.
Yeah, it's going to be playing Street Fighter 2 or having Turtle Olympics, one of the two, whatever decides go from there. Teaching turtles to do eye jump and stuff like that would be much more interesting. But no, if you've got that time to do something like that, and as Sean said, it's his answer. He never had time to finish that game. We never quite got to the end of it. That's the whole point of it. You can play your favourite games as much as you want, but this particular one, I can actually put time into that now and actually finish it and be really happy.
Yeah.
We know how important endorphins are when you're stuck in a situation like this. So the joy he would get from completing that game will do wonders for his mental health.
Yeah.
You never thought you'd hear me say that, did you? Well, here we go. Yes, I have been watching Dr. Hannah Fry on the television again. Right, so we are now down to the bottom of the barrel. The game that, for some reason, has managed to be washed up with you, there to mock you. A game which has you reaching for a makeshift axe so you can chop down as many palm trees as possible to make a giant fire saying, please get me off this island so I do not have to play this game a second longer. Sean.
Right. Let me set the scene.
I love that. Brilliant.
Let me set the scene.
Yeah.
Right, we're in days of the PlayStation 1, and we've got some good games that's come out, and then this game comes out, and all of a sudden it's the best thing since sliced bread, and I have a go of it, and I'm like, why? It's blocky, it's unforgiving, and it's, in my opinion, it's rubbish. And you'll see why. A lot of people liked it for one reason. Or two, possibly. Tomb Raider. Oh God, I hate it.
Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Wow. But you might need those survival skills while you're on this island.
Yeah, it'd be educational for you.
Because I think I've known him long enough to make you know Bear Grylls, mate. I mean, let's be honest with you.
I
can see why though, because I find it a clunky mess to play, and
it's terrible.
And I appreciate I'm saying it now, but I even thought that back then. But I kind of rose tinted glasses looking at it a little bit, and kind of realised that this is the controls that I've been given. I'll learn to play around it. So yeah, controls were horrendous back then and now.
Yeah, I still don't play it, even the new iterations of it, even though they're compared to Uncharted, aren't they? And I love Uncharted. But I think it's just
meant to be similar games, aren't they?
Yeah. But I think just the hatred
that.
I've got from I've got from it, from the original one, is just dragged on, and I'm like, no, I'm not playing it. I'm just not playing it because I don't like the first one.
It does happen with games, yeah.
But yeah, that's I just no, I hate it. I hate it. I nearly went for the obvious one, which would have been Mario. I thought, you know what? I'm going to give him a break this time.
Well, the thing is, you might need a plumber on that island to get some, sort of running water working through there. Can I ask that if you did take Mario, or you just take which Mario game would you be taking if that was the case? Because obviously he's had more than one game, hasn't he?
It's cart, isn't
it? The one on Wii, Super Mario. I can't remember the one on Wii.
Super Mario, the new Super Mario Brothers.
Super Mario, yeah.
Oh, the new version of it. Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. I did play that actually years ago when I used to play it with kids. We did. I must admit, we did have a good laugh with that back then. So probably sometimes I'm probably a bit unfair with Mario, but I did actually enjoy that certain Mario. So it'd be that one that I'd take if I had to pick a Mario game.
Right. Okay. But yeah. So Tomb Raider. Okay.
Tomb Raider.
And is that the first one, or are we talking any of the other ones?
Mainly the first one.
Mainly the first one.
I think the couple after it were just as bad, to be honest. But
have you ever played any Tomb Raider games beyond the first one, or any of the modern versions?
Not the modern versions. Tomb Raider 2 and 3. I probably had a little go on them, and I just like, no, still not for me. Still not for me.
Have you played any of the 360 ones, Rob?
despite owning 3 of them, no.
Yeah. Well, I can't add any more to that either because, but mind you, I did open my copy of Tomb Raider 3 a couple of weeks ago on the PlayStation 1 to find there was no disc in there.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, in true retro bear fashion.
The one thing I will say about the new ones, I do want to play them because they don't look like the old ones.
Yes,
if you get what I mean.
Yes, I think I've got. Was it Rise of the Tomb Raider on 360?
Yeah, Rise of Tomb Raider,
yeah.
Tomb Raider Underworld, and then just Tomb Raider that was released in a certain year, but looks a lot new.
I think I've got those. I think I've got those, if not all 3 of those. Certainly 2 of them.
I think there's another. There might be more, but those are the 3 that I've got. I'm looking at right now.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go next with my sort of choice, and I really want the game I've decided to pick is a game which, quite frankly, is a broken mess. And I'm really surprised because people always kept telling me, "Oh, play a game in this series. Play a game in this series. It's really good. You need to play this sort of game." And I think Rob, you may have told me at some point in the past to tell me, play a game in this particular series. And then I managed to pick this game up, and it's I've got it. So I'm just opening a copy of it there. I've got it playing in the background.
Broken Mesh got me thinking.
You're sorry?
Just saying, Broken Mesh, you got me thinking.
Yeah, well, it's a broken mess on this particular system, but it's part of a series of games which people have always spoken very highly to me about. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go. And this game on this particular system is quite cheap to pick up. And I didn't realise exactly how bad this game was, because it's got a reputation of being an absolute piece of crap, put it more likely. And I'm talking about, and this will surprise most people, because it's on the Wii. Okay?
Oh, it's not Right to Hell Retribution then?
Not what?
Right to Hell Hell Retribution.
No.
That is a broken mess.
No. The game I'm talking.
Retail Retribution.
I did stumble.
Yeah. And ironically, looking at the front cover, this is actually quite applicable because we're talking about desert islands, because this appears to be set on some sort of island. And I'm talking about, on the Wii, Far Cry Vengeance.
Oh.
Far Cry.
I haven't played that, but
yeah, this game is so bad. You can actually walk up to somebody and be shooting them, and they will not be shooting back at you. You can stand practically in front of them and pump them full of lead, and they will not even bother to fire at you. They will just stand there and let you do it.
Have you thought of turning it up from recruit mode?
Honestly, but then I played this game and I thought, that can't be right. And I went and looked on internet, and it is exactly as people say. It's a complete bag of shit. It's a complete dog turd of a game.
Can I ask you,
Yeah.
has this put you off playing other games in the franchise?
Yes.
Have you played any other games in the franchise?
No.
Right, get your 360 out or your PS3 and get Far Cry 3 out. It's one of the greatest games of all time, in my opinion. I absolutely adore it. Please power through the visage of this crap Wii game, all right? Play Far Cry 3.
And I it shouldn't put me off, but it does. But I didn't realise how bad this game was until I read about the fact that other people said it was really bad. And it is just. And the Wii gets a hard time for some of the games. This should have been a stellar title. I mean, in fact, you got a Far Cry game on the Wii. I was surprised there was a Far Cry game on the original Xbox. Far Cry Instincts, I think, was on that. It's 2, I think, on that. And I thought I was quite surprised. So I was surprised there was one on the Wii, but I didn't realise how bad this was. This game is so bad. The other game I was going to pick was also on the Wii, and would have been quite pointless if you were on Desert Island. It was called Endless Ocean. Now,
that'd just be a tease, wouldn't it?
Yeah. On paper, it sounds like the most relaxing game ever, where you are a deep sea diver exploring the ocean. When you actually play it, it is the perfect cure for insomnia. It really is. The second game, I've been told, is meant to be much, much better and much more involved, but it's very much like taking part in a, and I'm using a really old reference here because I'm down with the kids, a Jacques Cousteau documentary. And those of you who aren't old enough to remember, Jacques Cousteau was a famous marinologist who used to, back in the 1950s and 60s, go underwater and in his submarine and do lots of nature documentaries, sort of thing that David Attenborough does with animals. It is the most sleep-inducing game I've ever come across. But because it's completely broken, Far Cry Vengeance takes the biscuit, I'm afraid.
You said that sounds interesting, but as soon as I heard Endless Ocean, I just pictured sort of floating in the middle of the ocean on the surface with nothing else around you, and I thought, it sounds boring, not interesting at all.
Yeah, but you are literally diving in, and then you're sort of like petting the fish and feeding the fish and gathering information about them. That's not exactly my idea of a good time. I'm sorry.
This game set in ocean in general just sound boring. I mean, I know people love Echo the Dolphin. I just think it's complete cack.
Yeah.
I really do.
Don't get me wrong. I thought at the end, what a great idea for a game. And then again, I played it for a bit, and I thought this is really dull. And they apparently don't get any better. So there we go. So Rob,
is it my go?
Yeah, the last one. So the game that you're going to be stuck on is have you reaching for the emergency flares. And I'm not talking about the contents of Sean's wardrobe.
Oh dear. You wrote that down half hour ago, didn't you?
No, I wish I did. I just thought of it on the spot, mate. There we go.
Right.
Here all week.
Right.
Honestly, I'm never off. I said never off, yeah.
I think this is going to touch on a sort of a bit of a subject or a line that we brought up already, as in it's totally wrote off the sequels, because people tell me, no, play the sequels. That the second one's the best, the third one's all right, the first one is not that good, but I've played the first one for about an hour and a half now, and I was bored to tears. And that's Mass Effect. I played the first Mass Effect and got bored to tears. And people say to me, "Oh, give it time, play it longer, you might like it," or just don't worry about the first one, go on to the second one. The second one's brilliant, it's epic, it's amazing. And I'm just like, all I can remember is just walking around this spaceship for ages, looking for things to shoot. I'm like, please let me shoot things. And then you interact with someone, and it gives you 3 options to choose, and you can pick your own story and do all this. And I'm just like, I just want to shoot things. And I was just like,
yes, sometimes you just want to do that, don't you? American Postman had the same problem,
I was like, oh no, I can't give it another chance. I just can't bring myself to. So if that came up, if it was the only game that was available, and I'm just like, what? You're mocking me now, aren't you? I wouldn't be looking for. I wouldn't be trying to make an axe to chop it up with. I'd be looking for stones and vines to tie rocks to, so that I could throw it out as far as I could. I'd get more enjoyment in seeing how far I could throw it than I would playing it again.
Yeah, but you did play the sequels, didn't you?
I haven't. No, you're thinking of Dead Space.
Oh, sorry, I thought you had to. No, I'm thinking of Dead Space. You're absolutely right.
Dead Space 1, I loved. Dead Space 2, I thought was brilliant. Dead Space 3 was. If that was Dead Space 1, Dead Space 3, we'd have the same problem. But they learned to open up with the big hitter, the best one, not make a sequel that's better.
I must be honest. I've got all 3 of those. I haven't played them yet, but like you, I've heard the same thing. I'll play the sequels. The sequels are really good, which is really weird.
I can't.
Yeah. But then again, people, when they say something like that, you think about a game like Red Steel on the Wii. I'll bring this one up because it's a game I know very well. It got so much hype. The controls are not brilliant on that game at all. Some people say the controls are broken. I don't think they're that bad, but they're not great. When Red Steel 2 came out, everyone said, "Oh yeah, forget Red Steel, play the sequel." But everybody ignored the sequel because the first game was not particularly well received. So if people are telling you to play the sequel to Mass Effect, where does that fall? Because the sequel, obviously, that series of games were quite successful, weren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. People love them. People play them over and over again because they love them. It's like me and Gears. People are like that. Some people are like that with the Mass Effect trilogy. But then again, people that love the Mass Effect trilogy may not get Gears, so it could be just down to the person. Yeah. But when you say Red Steel, was that like someone with a samurai sword?
Yes, it was.
Can I just liken it to? Is it anything like Afro Samurai? You played Afro Samurai, haven't you?
I haven't played Afro Samurai, but I know the game you're talking about.
All right, it's just because you mentioned a lot of people like that game, and I didn't dislike it to a degree, but just got very frustrated with the bad camera angles, and it made it a little bit unplayable in places. Yeah,
because I think Red Steel suffers not. The sequel is a completely different game. It's set in like in a pseudo sort of Japanese Western type scenario, sort of again more samurai orientated, and it's great styling on it as well. But people just didn't buy into it because the first game was so bad. And it's one of those very, very few games where they've actually improved on the original. I always say this about You know, when you're remaking games, take games that are really bad, and then remake them and make them good games. Don't remake, don't take all the Resident Evil games, which, okay, showing their age now for how old they are, but they are still classed as great games. Don't take a good game and then redo it, because then people, as they are now, beginning to sort of get a bit fed up with this. Take a bad game and make it good.
The only thing I will say about, because obviously you're on to about remasters, remakes, or reimaginings and things like that. I'm
killing time because I can see the boat is coming.
Just what I'll throw against your little comment there about remasters and all that sort of stuff is for us they're a great way to sort of replay games from the past and all that. But I see where you're coming from. But the only thing that I like about remasters, reimaginings, all that jazz is that kids today or people growing up today would probably not go back and play an old game. But if you remaster a game like Crash Bandicoot and then give it to a kid and say it's a new game, but don't tell them it's actually a remastered old version of it, they're kind of playing an old game and experiencing it, and that is generally what I like about them. So but for me, I not necessarily I want the same game remastered, but it's the rose-tinted glasses thing. Is it? You tell me you're making. I know they've done the first one. You tell me you're making a remaster of Gears 2, and I'm like, oh, it's about time you've done the first one. I'm all over it. So yeah, it's down to the individual, but yeah, I love the fact that they could get younger generation playing an old game, but by making it look a lot prettier with the modern technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's probably a subject which we can get into on another broadcast at some point.
I would say, yeah, remasters is a whole topic, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I mean, it is a viper's nest of comments. Did any of you ever watch the TV program Fantasy Island or not?
No, sorry.
No.
Right, in that case, I won't do the reference I was going to do, because if you can't remember it, then I don't think everybody else is going to remember it. And yeah, it was perhaps because the rescue team has arrived and we have now been rescued off the desert island.
Did we play Fort Boyard? That's just come to my head.
Did we what?
Fort Boyard?
Yes.
On Channel 5?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was sort of a stranded island, wasn't it? And you had to sort of do all these puzzles to get off of it.
It's a castle, wasn't it?
Yeah, have we completed Fort Boyard now and we're allowed to leave?
Yeah. And the bad news is on the way we get struck down by something and end up in the Crystal Maze.
I was going to say, Melinda Messenger was on Fort Boyard. That wasn't such a bad place to be,
Yeah, but so was Leslie Grantham.
Okay.
And you know what he was like? God bless his soul, but yeah.
And now we'll start with Richard O'Brien on the way out. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's Richard O'Brien or Richard Iowadi, whichever way you want to.
As long as it's not Ed Tudor-Pole, he murdered that programme.
Yeah, so obviously the follow-up episode will be you are stuck in the Crystal Maze in the medieval zone, and you need to complete level 1 of Mario in less than 10 seconds, otherwise you get locked in.
Now we're at the Games Master.
This could go on forever, but I'm rapidly running out of hard drive space, so I'm afraid we can't do anything with that. People listening around the world, I hope you've enjoyed our subject this evening. I think it's been one of the funnest chats we've done, actually, to be honest with you. It's been
I enjoyed that.
It's been a strange old week for most of us, and I hope this puts a smile on some people's faces, because we've had a lot of fun doing this tonight. And I must be honest with you, this has been very sort of off the cuff. We only sort of pulled this together in the last sort of hour before we started recording. So I hope it's been entertaining and in the usual spirit and quality that we try and maintain here on these podcasts. All that remains to be said is thank you very much indeed to Sean and Rob for coming in this evening.
Thank you very much, mate.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bear. Yes.
No problem at all, and it's been absolutely fantastic. Really enjoyed every minute of it. Wherever you are, wherever you may be in the world, thank you very much indeed for tuning into this, and we hope all is well in your corner of the world. We will be back, hopefully in our regular slot, next week, Sunday nights at 7. It's the special bank holiday edition because it's gone out on the Monday when some of us have finally got a day off, which is great. We should be looking forward to that tomorrow, and I may even be listening to this at the time it goes out. On behalf of everybody here today, thank you very much indeed for tuning in. This is the Retro Bear saying thank you very much indeed for listening. Wherever you may be, do take care, stay safe, and bye for now.